Hello, Frontstretch family. We are back with another edition of Frontstretch Grassroots Rundown. I'm Chase Folsom here with Luken after a fantastic car store race at South Boston Speedway. One that Carson Kvapil picked up his third win of the season in his return to the series. It didn't start off great for Carson. He was kind of quiet back there, but about the midway point of the race, he charged through the field, and in that final restart, he was incredible. Luken, what did you see?
Yeah, well, if you look at the Triple Crown race that they had back here in June, we saw some hard chargers in that race, like Connor Hall. Tonight, didn't really see that at first, but then we saw Carson be able to really excel as the race went along. As the night really started to come in and the track started to cool down, he took off, obviously. He was able to run the top, he was able to run the bottom, he was able to run the middle. So really strong performance in him overall. Really made a statement, though, that, what is he now? Tied for second on the all-time car store win list. So really just established himself as the man, as you had tweeted out earlier. He was the man tonight that they could not stop.
Yeah, then that final restart, he went bottom of the racetrack all the way to the top, threw a slide job on Ryan Millington, and that ended up being the race-winning move. Something that people may not take it as exciting as it is because it's Carson Kvapil. We've come to see this so many times from him in this series. He is long overdue for a promotion to the Xfinity Series, and I expect we'll probably see something like that next season. But on the other end, Ryan Millington. Last time out, he won at Florence. Tonight, he qualifies on pole, leads the most laps, but winds up third. That's got to be a tough one to swallow.
Absolutely, especially with the points battle. I mean, we talked about him possibly getting himself into the championship hunt with 2 weeks to go, or 2 races to go, and potentially, having things go wrong for the other guys. So it's really important for him to be able to catch in leading laps. Being able to lead the most laps, earning the pole, and then ultimately winning the race. As the night went along, we kind of saw that top line dominance that he had going kind of slip away. But as you mentioned, that restart. I mean, what a move by Carson Kvapil to take the lead away from him. Just really blindsided him, I think. First off, I'm not sure Carson expected to be on the front row for that restart. He got up on the inside, made a nice move, really took Ryan by surprise completely. So absolutely has to be hard to swallow for him. Solid night overall, but you have to wonder here in these next 2 races, especially if something happens to the other 2 guys, was tonight the point where he could have cashed in, or is it a missed opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. He kind of said after the race that he'll take third. With the struggles that they've had the past couple years, they've been much improved the second half of this year, but at the same time, to have such a dominant car, and he mentioned kind of got too tight there at the end, it's disappointing for a guy like him to see one that could have been get away. Other storylines throughout the night, the championship battle. Connor Hall was having an absolutely awful night, and Brendan Queen was having a solid one, but in the end, they end up only 2 spots apart and a 1-point championship lead for Connor Hall going into the final 2. You caught up with Brendan Queen. What did he have to say about the title fight?
Yeah, he said, kind of echoed what Connor Hall had said, I believe, at Florence, of, this championship battle is going to come down to who executes better. One mistake, as Hall said, is rest in peace to your championship hopes. So for Queen, it was kind of the same thing of we have to execute, we have to be clean. Track position is very key, and that's what he said. Tonight he was able to have that track position really maintained throughout the night. Ultimately, the ball was in Connor Hall's court to make up that ground, and he did, ultimately. We saw a really good battle there between Queen and Minnie Tyrell there kind of in the last couple of laps. That was important for Queen to get that spot and inch 1 spot forward. And so his kind of the main thing that he echoed in his interview was, I have to execute, I need to qualify well, I need to practice well, and I ultimately need to set the tone for the weekend and be ahead of Hall over these next 2 races.
And Connor Hall kind of said the same thing and mentioned that these next 2 tracks really suit the Lee Pulliam guys and Brendan Queen more than himself and Nelson Motorsports. And he said the exact quote was, they're going to have to do some soul searching if they're going to win this championship. And I agree with him. They've struggled over the past couple races. They've given up a lot of points to Brendan Queen. So interesting to see how that one plays out. Any other closing thoughts here from South Boston?
I think it was just a really fun night to watch. You had so many. South Boston is just a really fun track. You have the top, you have the bottom. Tire wear is obviously a key factor in this, so you have to see guys really save their stuff. I think that's what we saw Carson Qualls do. Kind of save his stuff at first, let the car come to him, and then when he had an opportunity to pounce, that Xfinity experience that he's been gaining this year over Virginia Motorsports came into play tonight, able to capture that on the field. Really good racing throughout the field all night. Aggressive racing. We saw some really good battles between Lane Riggs and his return to South Boston Speedway. We saw some good battles between him, second place Leonard Trayton, Lapsevich. We saw good battles between Riggs and Kvapil at one point. Sliders everywhere. The fans were going nuts. I mean, there were fans sitting around this whole place standing around this whole place pretty much the entire race. So it's a really fun night overall, and we talked about that championship battle. 2 races to go. Really important to come out here tonight and establish yourself. Both guys did what they needed to do really to keep themselves in that fight. It'll be fun to watch over these next 2 races.
Absolutely. My last closing thought is NASCAR, there needs to be a Craftsman Truck Series race at South Boston ASAP. This facility is awesome. And it's deserving of a National Series date. With that, that's going to do it for us from South Boston Speedway. For Luken Glover, I've been Chase Folsom. We will see you next time at Martinsville.
Steven Stump of Frontstretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.